This is the #1 reason why you have to build homes, because it's the best business model out there, hands down, and it puts you in a position financially where you don't get crushed by the middle class and you don't become subjected to being crushed as part of the middle class. You have a business model in a position to be able to allow you to go out and compound money and overperform to be able to earn larger dollars. I'll tell you, the reason that the middle class is disappearing right now more so than ever is just because of the overall expenses with everything, starting with taxes and then just the downward pressure of absolutely everything. You have to be in the upper middle class. You have to be making in excess of $150,000 a year net in order to make things happen, because here's the breakdown. Like if you go in and let's say the average median income nationwide is $83,000 a year, but let's say that we supersede that and we go in and we make $150,000 in a year. So if you make $150,000 in a year, the national average for someone making $150,000 a year, by the time you pay federal income taxes, you're gonna be at about a 21% bracket, FICA, your unemployment taxes, and then you pay your state income taxes. On average, you're gonna be closer to about 25%. So let's say that we multiply that times 25% just for taxes alone, okay? So we take $150,000, 150 times 0.25, that's $37,500 minus 150. So that's $112,000. So our take home is gonna be about $112,500, okay? This is our take home. Okay, so right there alone, we just devoured a big piece of our income. Now, you have a mortgage. Let's say that you just live modestly. Let's find out what Google says. What is the average price per home that somebody making $150,000 per year typically purchases nationwide?
Nationwide, someone earning $150,000 annually typically buys a home priced between $450,000 and $550,000. This
Okay,
price range helps keep housing costs at or below 28% of their income.
so 28% of their income. So let's say it's $500,000. So now we take a $500,000 home, okay? So we have a mortgage payment. We have $500,000 home. Let's say, let's call it 5.5% interest, 5.5% interest. So if we take $500,000 times 0.055, that's $27,500 per year, $27,500 per year. Okay, that's just your interest. Now we pay our we amortize this, pay our interest. We're going to be somewhere closer to about $35,000 a year. Okay, so if we take about, actually we'll be a little higher than that. We'll be about $37,000, 37,000 per year. So now let's go in. We're going to subtract $37,000 per year out of your income. So we take $112,500. We're going to subtract $37,000. Okay, now let's say that we have 2 car payments. Look, it's tough because the average person can't even afford to go out and live and eat and breathe even at $150,000. And the reason I go over this stuff is because, look, this is what I was telling you about when we were talking about just your mortgage payment and just reducing your car payments, right? How much a month are you paying for each of your cars?
Average 600.
Okay, so let's even take it down. Let's take it to $1,200. You bought your cars used or new?
Used.
Used. So let's take it up to $700. Okay, let's say we get $750. That's $1,500 to get 2 new cars. Okay, so we have $1,500 times 12. That's another $18,000 minus $18,000 per year. Okay, now we go back in, and this is per year. And now we have groceries. Shit, groceries, man. Like for a family, how much you guys paying a month for groceries? $800?
Yeah, easy.
$800 easy. I mean, we're spending more. So now we take $800 times 12. That's $9,600 for groceries. This is for cars. This is for home. This is for groceries. Let's say that we're spending $100 a week on gas. I'm spending more than that because I had a big giant truck. But let's say $100 a week in gas. So 2 cars, $100 a week, 4.3 weeks in a month. So that's 200 times 4.3 weeks in a month times 12 months. That's $10,320 for fuel, okay? So now, we're gonna subtract fuel, cost of $10,320 per year. This is fuel cost. Okay, now entertainment costs, forget entertainment costs. Let's say you go out to eat once a week and you spend on average of $60 a week in food. $100 minimum, right? $100. Yeah, $100 every time you go in, once a week. And then say you get your Starbucks, a couple times a week. People are getting that stuff every single day, $8 to $10 a pop. So you spend, let's say $150 on going out to eat a week, okay? So now we take 4.3 weeks in a month times 150 a week times 12 months. That's $7,700 a year. So this is on out food, $7,740, okay? Now, let's say we have kids, and let's say your kids just with clothing and sports, recreation, school activities, field trips, school supplies, and just the random stuff with school that you have to pay for and the tuitions of all that stuff. And let's say you have them in public school. Let's say you just pay $300 a month for your kids to do activities and sports. So 300 times 12, let's say you have 2 kids times 2, that's $7,200 a year for your kids' activities. Now we need clothes and stuff. Let's say that we spend on average of $100 a month per person for clothes, a shirt here, a shirt there, a pair of shoes here, a pair of shoes there, work apparel, and you have to get boots or whatever it is, right? And so you have, let's say you have a family of 4. That's $400 a month on clothing. 400 a month times 12 months a year, $4,800 a month in clothing. Okay, where are we at? 4,800. I haven't even talked about leisure travel yet or any of this stuff, okay? And so I tell people, watch, look how important it is to build one house a year, because we take this $112,000, okay? So we take 112. We subtract out 37,000 minus 18,000 minus 9,600 minus 4,800 minus 10,320 minus 7,740 minus 7,200. You have $17,340 left after necessities. Okay, after necessities. That's before you go on vacation. So let's say you take one vacation a year. For a family of 4, that's $10,000 for a family vacation. Let's just keep it really modest. So let's say you keep a really modest vacation. You spend $7,000 once a year and you take one vacation. That means no travel for your kids. You're not playing soccer in a different state. You're not playing baseball in a different state. You're not doing gymnastics in a different state. You're not even traveling. So if you take $7,000 off of that, you have $10,000 left. That $10,000 left after $150,000, that's your expendable income that you have for car repairs, oh shit money, and everything else you have. If you want to learn the exact strategy of how to buy the right piece of land in the right area to build a house, if you want to learn the exact strategy that I've been utilizing for almost 3 decades, then text me the word land at 505-560-0520. Let's go ground up. Let's buy land. Let's build houses, and let's start right now. And so I get it when I tell people, hey, you got to come up with $15,000 to build your first house. And they're sitting back freaking out. They're going, oh my God, that's the vast majority of your annual expendable income. And people freak out and they're like, I can barely make it. Yeah, you can barely make it because you're making $150,000 a year. So now your wife has to get a job. Your husband has to get a job. Now 2 people are going out there and they're providing. And here's what ends up happening. Is that the more money you make, all you do is you spend more money. You go, hey, we're both making $150,000. So instead of buying a house that's $500,000, now you're buying an $800,000-$900,000 house. Now instead of driving a Toyota or a Kia or something that's modest, now you're driving a little Mercedes or a little Hummer, or you're driving a Suburban, and then now you're driving a little bit nicer vehicles. And now you might have a little auxiliary vehicle. Your kids are in high school. You have to buy them a car. We haven't even paid insurance yet. We haven't even paid insurance on all this stuff yet. So by the time you pay for health insurance, by the time you pay for car insurance, by the time you pay for all of that stuff, you really have no income left. And so I always tell people, I'm like, look, building a house is so important, because when you go in and if you build a $900,000 house, and the banks will lend on this because there's an equity spread of over $200,000. If the land is 20% of this, okay, so if the house is 20% of this, look what this does for you. If you take $900,000 times 0.2, that's going to be $180,000 max for the land. That's maximum, okay? Now, let's say that this house is 2,600 square feet and we build it at $165 a square foot. So we build 165 times 2,600, that's $429,000. This is the build cost. Closing cost on this is going to be someplace in the neighborhood of about $55,000 to close on it. And then our mortgage fees on this is going to be someplace in the neighborhood of about $35,000 on the construction money. You need to finance this stuff right here. Okay, this is cost of debt. Okay, that's high. That'll probably be closer to about 25,000. Let's just go high. So 35 plus 55 plus 429 plus 180, that equals 699. So 700K. Okay, now we take that, that's a $200,000 net profit is $200,000. Okay, now your car payment becomes a tax write-off. So now we start reducing our taxes. And so when we go in and this amount right here that we normally netted out, what if we could take a part of my home as a tax write-off? What if I can write off both cars completely? What if I can go in and write off all of my fuel? What if I can go in and write off part of my out money for business expenses, because I talk about business. What if I pay my kids a salary and I write that off? What if I go in and part of my clothes, I'd be careful with this. That's questionable. I just leave that alone. And groceries, what if we can go in and write half of that? What if we can write off half of this? Now your income just went up. You almost spent all this money. Now you wrote most of it off. And so now this taxable income actually goes back up, and you might be only at a 10% of this. That's $15,000. So instead of 150, you might be at $135,000 to start instead of 112,000. Now we go back in and now we start putting all this stuff to work. Now we start making some money, and now we have an extra $200,000 net. How can that impact your life? What if you can use 100% of that money, that $200,000? Let me show you how that compounds. So now you can go in, you can compound that money. If you just take that $200,000 and you compound that, and in 8 years you double it, so times 2, that's $400,000 in 8 years, okay? So now we go back in 8 years, so we take $200K and we just invest this. Now in 8 years, it equals $400K. So in another 8 years, so 16 years, it equals $800K. We add another 8 years to that, so that's 24 years. It's $1,600,000. And then 8 years to that, that's 32 years from now. That's $3,200,000 is what this $200,000 does for you in 32 years from now. So if you're 30 years old right now, by the time you're 62 years old, this first $200,000 that you put to work for you at the age of 30 is now worth $3,200,000 if you duplicate your money every 8 years. This is what you have at 32 years at the age of 62. That's more than if you worked a full-time job, and that's only off of building one house. What if you went out and you compounded that and you took this and you multiplied that over the next 32 years, and you only did it the first 10 years, and you multiplied that times 10 homes? So you take that, that's $32 million on your net worth by the time that you're 62 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you compound money. Why is it so important that you guys understand that the middle class is dying, and you understand a better way to go out and produce better revenue to be able to protect yourself from being subjected to the middle class? Pay off your debts, get yourself to a position where you have expendable capital. That's how you compound money. That's how you compound your success. Look, to go in and better understand how to compound your finances and how to strategically position yourself to do ground up builds so you can ultimately do what I'm explaining right here, comment the word build down below. Click and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can go in and get all up-to-date information, strategies, and what we're doing, how we're doing it, day in, day out, to be able to strategize how you position yourself to go out and profit long-term. Pound that thumbs up button and comment down below. If you're watching this for the second time, put hashtag repeat, and we'll see you on the inside next time.